At the heart of this story were two couples living just 3 houses apart on what was supposed to be one of the safest streets in the city. For more than 20 years, Isabella and Russell Hawthorne had been the gold standard of Sycamore Lane. In their early 50s, they were successful, polished, and deeply embedded in the community. Russell, steady and dependable. Isabella, elegant and charismatic. Their home was the unofficial gathering place. Dinner parties, holidays, summer cookouts. People admired them. Some envied them. Others quietly compared their own marriages to the Hawthornes and came up short. Then came the newcomers. Zara and Eric Donovan, newly married, both in their mid-20s, moved into the neighborhood like a sudden gust of fresh air. Young, attractive, artistic, and visibly in love, they stood out immediately on a street dominated by aging couples and retirees. Their laughter was louder. Their energy was sharper. Their presence impossible to ignore. No one suspected that within months, these 4 lives would be violently intertwined, bound together by desire, obsession, betrayal, and death. What began as a reckless experiment meant to reignite passion would spiral into a nightmare that left one man dead, one woman imprisoned, and 2 others psychologically destroyed. This is a story of how curiosity became fixation, how fantasy turned into terror, and how one suburban street became the center of a national crime headline. Isabella Hawthorne had always been exceptional. Growing up in Seattle, she was everything people admired. Captain of the cheerleading squad, prom queen, valedictorian. But Isabella wasn't just admired for her looks. She was brilliant, driven, and ambitious. She expected greatness from life and from herself. She met Russell Hawthorne during her sophomore year at the University of Washington. Russell was 2 years older, charismatic, and destined for success. A star quarterback with leadership written all over him. Their relationship was immediate, intense, and highly visible. On campus, they were known as that couple, flawless, unstoppable. They married shortly after Isabella graduated, convinced they were about to conquer the world together. Then reality intervened. Russell's professional football career ended abruptly after a devastating knee injury during his first year. The dream died overnight, but Russell adapted quickly, pivoting into sports management and climbing the corporate ladder with quiet determination. Isabella pursued marketing, excelling through sheer creativity and relentless drive. Their lives looked perfect. A beautiful home, high-paying careers, a daughter, Lily, who became their pride. But perfection has a shelf life. As years passed, Russell's long work hours turned into emotional absence. His athletic build faded. The spark that once defined their marriage dimmed into routine. Isabella, once admired and desired, began to feel invisible inside her own life. When Lily left for college, the house felt cavernous, silent, empty. Isabella tried to fill the void. Yoga classes, book clubs, wellness retreats. But nothing touched the ache growing inside her. She watched younger couples with their spontaneous kisses and careless laughter and felt something dangerously close to grief. 50 loomed on the horizon, and with it came panic. Eric Donovan was the first crack in Isabella's control. Young, lean, magnetic, his presence alone reminded her of everything she had lost. Passion, excitement, hunger. When she watched Eric and Zara unload boxes from their moving truck, Isabella felt something stir that she hadn't felt in years. Desire, and with it an idea. Zara Donovan, born Zara Khalil, had grown up straddling 2 worlds. The traditional expectations of her Lebanese immigrant parents and the progressive, artistic culture of the Pacific Northwest. Art had always been her refuge, her rebellion, her voice. She met Eric during her final year at Portland State University. He was a barista with a photographer's eye and a restless soul. Their connection was instant and consuming. They explored abandoned buildings, underground galleries, hidden gardens. They talked about freedom, identity, and rejecting society's rules. They married fast. Too fast, some said, but they didn't care. Moving to Sycamore Lane felt like the beginning of adulthood. Stability. Space, a future. They had no idea what they were walking into. The annual summer block party was where everything shifted. Isabella took charge as always, charming, radiant, impossible to ignore. Her attention lingered on Eric longer than it should have. Her touch lasted a second too long. Her smile held something deliberate. Eric noticed. Russell didn't. The four gravitated toward each other effortlessly. Laughter, drinks, compliments, subtle glances, unspoken tension. By the time the party ended, something had been planted, something dangerous. The proposal came quietly. One night in bed, Isabella asked Russell if he'd ever thought about spicing things up. When she suggested swapping partners, the room went silent. Russell was stunned, then curious, then aroused. Days later, Isabella named the Donovans, and instead of shutting it down, Russell agreed. The night of the swap was thick with nervous energy. Wine flowed, jazz played softly. Four smiles masked dread and anticipation. When the pairing split, Isabel with Eric, Russell with Zara, no one spoke. No one backed out. What followed shattered boundaries forever. Afterward, silence filled the room like poison, but Isabella smiled. To her, this wasn't a mistake. It was a beginning. Eric never recovered. The encounter didn't fade. It consumed him. He started watching Isabella, waiting for her, photographing her, from across the street, through windows, without her knowledge. Zara found photos, hundreds of them. Her husband hadn't just crossed a line. He'd vanished into obsession. Isabella noticed too, the messages, the mood swings, the desperation. When she tried to shut it down, Eric escalated. Late-night texts turned frantic. Declarations of love turned into accusations. Desire curdled into rage. Then came the night he stood outside her bedroom window, whispering promises and threats. Isabella was terrified, but she stayed silent, because admitting the truth would destroy her life. The final confrontation came on a quiet Sunday. Russell was gone. Eric let himself in, drunk, unhinged, certain they were meant to be together. Isabella begged, pleaded, screamed. When he lunged, instinct took over. The struggle was violent, desperate, chaotic. When it ended, Eric lay still on the kitchen floor. Isabella called 911, and Sycamore Lane would never be the same. The investigation peeled back everything. The affair, the stalking, the photos, the lies. At trial, the story split the nation. Was Isabella a manipulator who unleashed chaos, or a woman trapped by the monster she helped create? The jury decided. 5 years in prison. In the aftermath, no one escaped untouched. Russell lost everything he believed in. Zara retreated into grief and art. The neighborhood emptied. Trust shattered beyond repair. 2 houses stood abandoned, silent monuments to desire gone wrong. Because sometimes the most dangerous thing isn't violence. It's the moment someone decides that wanting something matters more than consequences. If this twisted story left you on edge, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Watch closely. Our next video dives into another shocking case of love, betrayal, and a crime so calculated it will haunt you.